Cramming for exams? Use these ideas and get your best score on tests. Let's face it, in an ideal world, you would have been studying enough all along not to need to cram. But we live in the real world, and here, sometimes it's just plain necessary. Cramming for exams is stressful. It's also a huge pain in the butt. In this video, I'm going to give you the very best ways to cram for your upcoming exam. No fluff, no theory, no useless nonsense. You're only going to get techniques and tactics that are both practical and are proven to be effective. So, let's get started. Hi, my name is Matt DeMayo and welcome to my channel, Be Smarter Faster. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so now and be sure to hit that little bell icon to be notified whenever I release a new video. Thanks in advance. Now, let's dig into exactly what you need to do in order to cram as much information into your head as possible before that important exam. A lot has to do with your attitude about cramming. If you're stressing yourself out, your negative thoughts will be your own worst enemy. Instead, talk to yourself in positive terms. Visualize the outcome you do want, not the outcome you don't. Your thoughts will be self-fulfilling prophecies. Now in this video, I'm going to break this lesson up into 3 parts. What to do before you actually begin cramming all that information into your head. Number 2, what to do during the actual cram study process. And then number 3, what to do afterwards. Before beginning your cram session, number 1, get organized. Collect the things that you'll need. Grab your notes, any handouts you got in class, your textbook, or anything else that would help. You may also want to have a sample test or copies of past exams. Frequently, you can get them from your teacher. If you're in university, you can also find some of them online, and they may be offered either by your school or by other colleges. If you can print out the test, even better. Have pens and pencils close by. You may want some with different colors. Also, have a pad and a deck of index cards handy. Next, go somewhere you can concentrate and focus. Eliminate any and all distractions. Turn off your phone or mute it. Turn off the TV. Turn off any social networks and anything else that's not directly related to what you're studying. Now, during your cram session, create a written outline of topics that you expect to be covered on the test. It could be as simple as listing the titles of the chapters that you expect to be covered. Next, take a practice exam. Do any practice problems or take any sample tests that you can. This way, you can focus on the parts where you're weak instead of spending your valuable time reviewing material you already know well. Check your answers and then review your notes to take a look at the areas where you need the most help. After scoring yourself on the practice exam, review your textbook notes and your lecture notes. If you aren't clear about what your professor or the textbook is talking about, you might want to do a YouTube search on that topic to see if you can get maybe more context about anything that you're struggling with. Look online for review sheets, practice problems, or sample tests. Sometimes students or other universities will post those types of resources, and it can give you a different perspective other than what you got from just one single professor. Use the 80-20 rule. Good news, you don't need to study everything. There's something called Paretos Law, often called the 80-20 rule. 80% of the value comes from only 20% of the content. So you need to focus on that 20%. For example, with math, it might be equations or formulas. In language class, it might be new vocabulary, or perhaps your class focused more on the rules of grammar. In history, it would likely be the biggest events, wars, leaders, dates. However, perhaps your professor was more interested in talking about the theme of certain events, such as the reason, why they happened, or what was the ultimate outcome. If you're studying physics, the 20% might be the laws of, say, thermodynamics, and the definition of terms that are included in those laws, like entropy. Next, make flashcards. Use the index cards for that. Just as in my video, recall what you study. The best way to retain this core information is to write out flashcards. Now, with these flashcards, you might want to include more than just words or formulas. For example, if you can draw a picture of some sort, it'll probably stay in your memory better. Look, there's a natural tendency to play to your strengths, but that's a mistake here. You need to focus on where you're weak and look for ways to boost your results there. Look for examples of what you're studying. You may make up your own, or you can get them from your notes, or you can find them in your textbook. Use memory tricks. Repetition is the mother of learning. You may have heard me say that from some of my other videos. But you want to space out those repetitions a bit. Review your connections in an hour, then in 3 or 4 hours, then a few times the next day. Now, the first actual memory trick is one of the oldest and most common. I call it alphabet soup. This is where you take a list and you use the first letter of each item in that list to spell words or make up sentences. Here's a few quick examples. If you wanted to learn the Great Lakes, the mnemonic device is HOMES, H-O-M-E-S. You might visualize nice homes on the Great Lakes. HOMES, H-O-M-E-S, Huron, Ontario, Michigan, Erie, Superior. When I was a kid in grade school, I learned the colors of the rainbow by remembering some oddball guy's name, Roy G. Biv. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. Roy G. Biv. If you were studying English, there are 7 coordinating conjunctions. And the way you can remember that is with the word fanboys. Fanboys. For, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. And once again, when I was a kid in grammar school, we learned the planets of the solar system in order from the sun all the way outwards, and that was with a sentence. My very energetic mother just served us 9 pickles. Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto. Yes, I still think that Pluto is a planet. By the way, here's another cute sentence that you might use. Mary's violet eyes make John stay up nights panting. So another great way to remember lists of things is to use a concept I call chaining. That's where you make an image of each item in your list and then you chain them together to form a story. By the way, you'll see examples of how to do this in my video called How to Do the Impossible. Also, in part 1 of my 5-part series called Educational Games for Kids Being Homeschooled. I recommend that you take a look at those 2 videos and you'll see how to create chains of images so you can remember long lists. Next, let's talk about managing your cram sessions. I recommend you take breaks every 40 to 45 minutes. The things that people recall the best are the beginnings and the endings. It's the stuff in the middle where you tend to zone out a bit. It's just like at a concert. The band you like is going to play their best, most famous songs at the beginning, and at the very end, they take the new stuff from the new album and throw it into the middle. So, beginnings and endings. You want to give yourself a lot of them. Don't do one long shift all the way through. Break up your study time into chunks of about 40 to 45 minute sections. That has been shown to be the ideal amount of time. By the way, if you've ever wondered why class is about 40 minutes long or so, now you know. Okay, during your breaks, don't just sit there. Take a walk, get your blood moving. The best thing to do during your break is something physical. If you can, take a walk or just do a bit of light exercise. If you don't want to do that, you can also just chill out with your headphones on. Listen to some of your favorite music in a comfortable chair for about 15 minutes or so. And then get back at it. After cramming. First, sleep on it. Do the maximum amount of studying you can before you go to bed. Then get plenty of sleep. Your subconscious will have worked on it overnight. Then review the material first thing in the morning. Your biggest obstacle. The biggest obstacle you face in successfully cramming for any test is stress. That's right, you become your own worst enemy. So, we're going to create a plan to reduce it. Look, there's some real science behind this. We could go into all the medical mumbo-jumbo of how stress releases cortisol into your system and it leads to it interfering with your hippocampus. That's the part of your brain which is responsible for turning short-term memory into long-term. But the bottom line is you need to get in control of your thoughts. If you've watched my video, Get in the Mood to Study, you may recall I taught a very fast and very effective mental programming method I call the mirror technique. You simply look into your own eyes using a mirror, and then you tell yourself the outcome you desire. Be sure to state everything in the present tense, not I will be getting a good grade on this exam, but I get good grades on my exams. Not I'm going to relax and learn all this last minute stuff, but I am relaxed and it's easy for me to learn everything I need to do well on my exam. It may sound a little weird. Okay, maybe more than a little. But I promise you, it works. Do it and see for yourself. Before the test. First, I strongly recommend that you review my 3-part series, Test Taking Tactics. You'll discover some amazing but super simple techniques to get a higher score without knowing more. In other words, how to improve your grade even though you don't know the material any better. It's also important to do some physical things. So, before the test, visit the test site if you haven't done so yet. It'll prevent you from getting lost, especially if it's a brand new location. It'll also help you with any visualization that you do to see yourself in the exam room doing well in your imagination. Mild exercise before an exam shows a marked improvement in memory recall. Next, eat something. Don't take your test on an empty stomach. Be sure to keep your blood sugar and your hydration at good levels. Of course, use positive self-talk during the exam. Never say or think things like, "Oh no, I can't remember." Instead, say to yourself, "It will come to me in a moment." Okay, we've covered a lot in this video. I gave you multiple things to do before getting ready to do your cram session. We talked about what to do during each cram session and some physical things that I recommend that you do after you're done cramming. So please go back and review everything we just covered here. Maybe put the video on a higher speed and you can go through it one more time a little faster to be sure that everything we talked about is actually in your head. If you found this video to be helpful, please give it a like and recommend it on your social media accounts. And post a comment. I do my best to read every comment and often reply, so don't be surprised if you hear from me. As always, this is Matt DeMeo, reminding you that everything that I teach does take a little bit of work and effort, but I promise you it's worth it. Always remember that the fastest way to get to the top is to get off your bottom. Thanks for joining me on this video, and I will look forward to having you join us on the next.